Update. I've, female 25, returned from a month-long trip, and my roommate, female 22, has moved all her things into my room and has been living there with no intention of switching back. Original post. So I moved into this flat about 8 months ago. I met Lana online on her roommate's website, and we clicked well. She's a bit younger, but seemed mature. We quickly agreed to be roommates as both of us were under time constraints to find a place to live, but have got on really well so far, up until this. Our flat is a 2-bedroom, and to be frank, my room is clearly the better one. It's bigger and has built-in wardrobes. When looking for the flat, I found a place first on my own and put down a deposit to take it off the market while I found another roommate. The flat was perfect. Cheap rent, and my aunt manages the property, so I was keen to snap it up before anyone else did. The area it's in is popular, so I wasn't really worried about not finding someone to room with. Because of the above and that I was there first, I took the bigger room naturally. When showing potential roommates, including Lana, round, I was sure to show the smaller room and say this would be your room. We moved in 8 months ago. It has been happy families. Never heard Lana complain about her room. Because I have about 6 times the wardrobe space that she does, I told her she's welcome to store her off-season clothes in there, or whatever she wants to store, as long as she's not popping in every morning to get dressed. She was happy with us. But just over a month ago, I went traveling. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of having people in my room, but I told Lana if she had someone stay, her sister's friends from home, they could sleep in my bed. She said thanks, and as she's been such a great roommate and rarely has guests except her boyfriend, I didn't worry at all. I came back yesterday. I was exhausted from the flight and traveling, and just wanted to shower and sleep. As I walked in, Lana was in the living room with her boyfriend. We said hello and hugged, had a very quick catch-up, blah blah. Then I dragged my suitcase to my room, opened the door, and found it full of stuff that was not mine. I kind of yelled, "What the hell?" and briefly thought I was so jet-lagged I was confused, but opened the door to Lana's room and saw all my stuff. I walked into the living room and asked Lana what was going on, and she said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. We put my stuff in your room just because it's bigger and you weren't here and you said I could use it." I was honestly so tired I could have passed out then, so I probably wasn't in the best state, and told her to move it all back immediately. She said they were in the middle of making dinner and I looked tired, so I should have some sleep. Her boyfriend then said, "And anyway, you pay the same rent, so isn't it fair that you both get a big room at some point?" I was getting really frustrated, and I could feel tears welling up, hysterical from lack of sleep, so I just said, "We'll deal with this tomorrow, and it's getting moved back." And then I went to sleep in not my room. I've woken up now, and I'm so pissed off. Lana's at work, so I can't talk to her. But what should I do when she's home? I feel like this is going to turn into an argument, and I don't think it'll be as simple as, "Okay, let's swap now that you're home." Now for the top comments before reading the first update. She moved your things out when you weren't there. You're off work now. Just swap things back straight away. Start with stripping the beds and changing the linen over. I wouldn't leave it till tomorrow. It normalizes the situation. If she comes home whilst you're in the middle of it, just keep going or ask her to help you. Her boyfriend should keep out of it. I assume he's lived there full-time over the last month and is seeing it as their flat now. Yep, this is my worry. I still paid rent for this month I was away, so I have every right to return to the same flat as I left. 3 separate points here. 1. They shouldn't have touched your stuff or moved rooms. Reverse that while they're at work. Just do it right now. Also, get a lock. 2. An even rent split with uneven rooms isn't fair. Even she has no room to complain because she knew that going in. If you want good relations going forward and to be the bigger person, perhaps decide what is a fair rent split and propose this to her when she gets back. 3. Boyfriend isn't supposed to live here and isn't paying anything. Does he now? Time to nip that in the bud. Move your stuff back. This isn't even a discussion. You found a place. You made it clear the smaller was her room. Put a lock on the door and say this isn't a discussion. It sucks she screwed herself over, but that's her problem, not yours. Edit. Also, if the boyfriend has been staying over all the time, nip that in the bud. You signed up for 1 housemate, not 2. If he cares so much, he can go rent a place with her. Be upfront and tell her in the future she needs to A. Ask because you didn't give her permission to your room, and B. If she wasn't happy with the deal, she should have said something or not rented a place. Not this weird passive-aggressive show of dominance. I plan on having a calm discussion with her, and her alone. If she fights me on moving the room back, I'll do it while she's at work and put a big lock on the door. I don't want to do it this way, but she's been so sneaky and passive about this that I'm not putting up with it. The boyfriend generally isn't around too much as mine is at least. It's never bothered me before, but I think he's just finished uni, so it's probably been here a lot since he left school. She's been a dream to live with up until now, which is why I'm leaning towards this being the boyfriend. I'm going to talk to her about it and hopefully resolve it, but this matter isn't flying with me. Just do it. Just move your stuff back. ASAP. She's already convinced that her getting the big room is fair because you both pay the same amount, and you're not talking her out of it anytime soon. So move your stuff and put the lock before she comes back, and before she's the one that puts the lock. This is simple. You don't need to have a discussion with her. While she's at work, move your stuff back to your room. Take her off-season clothes out of your closet and install a lock. If she had an issue about the price she's paying or the size of her room, she should have negotiated that during the contract signing. Also, do not allow a third party, her boyfriend, who does not live there, dictate or comment about anything to do with that apartment. To be honest, your roommate sounds like a crappy person and opportunist under that niceness. Anyone who would move all of someone's stuff out of their room is not nice. Edit. I've taken the advice of most people on this thread and moved my stuff back. It's taken hours and I'm knackered, but I think if I left it another night it would be a real problem. I sent her a text when I was almost done, in case she kicked up a storm and came home, to say, "Hi Lana, hope you're having a nice day at work. Just to let you know I'm moving my stuff back into my room. Didn't want you coming home and walking into the wrong one. Yes, I'm petty. I'll be talking to her when she gets in because this is out of character for her, to the point of it being bizarre. She's never been anything but a model roommate, so I'm gonna give her a chance before we're donezo. If she wants to be reasonable and have a chat about rent portions, I'm happy to do that. She's never had a problem with the rent before, and honestly, I've never had uneven rent amounts in any place I've ever lived, whether I had a bigger room or smaller room. But a lot of people here are saying it's the norm, so I'm open to talking about it if she's not ridiculous. Edit 2. Lana should be home in a bit. I'll update when I can. And now for the first update. Hi everyone. I've got about a million messages asking for an update, but last night was a bit mad and I'm still pretty jet-lagged, so sorry but I went to sleep. Anyway, here we go. So as you know, I texted Lana to tell her I moved my stuff back. She didn't reply to me. Fine, whatever. But she didn't kick off, so I figured we were okay. I told my aunt what had happened, who was as baffled as all of you, and I told her it was probably all sorted, just keeping her in the loop. I also told my boyfriend who works about 5 minutes down the road. He offered to come around, in case Lana's boyfriend came around, but I told him not to because then we're ganging up on Lana. He insisted on going for a coffee with his mate a couple roads away in case we needed backup, which is a bit ridiculous, but very cute of him. So I did get myself a glass of wine while waiting for Lana, not because I was nervous, I just like wine, and she came home. I was sat in the living room and gave her a very cold hi when she walked in. She sort of froze, bag in hand, and her eyes darted between me and my /not her /our bedroom door. She blurted, "Did you do it?" And I said, "What, moved her rooms back?" "Yeah, of course." And her eyes went all wide, and she dropped her bag and ran into the bathroom. I could hear her talking on the phone. So I was like, yippee, I guess Tom's coming around. Fun. I heard the door unlock, and I was about to go full Hulk on how psycho she is when she came out the door and stood between our bedrooms. Their doors are adjacent, and she just stared between them both, breathing heavily. It was really odd. Then I noticed she was crying and getting a bit panicky, so I asked what was going on. She burst into tears and said, "Oh my god, he's going to kill me," and just sobbed. So yeah, it was the boyfriend's idea completely, as a lot of us suspected. She's honestly always been a perfect roommate, which is kind of why I came to the sub. If she was generally Nehal, I would have known how to act, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Lana has a bit of a breakdown, and it turns out POS Tom has always been a bit of a POS. Very jealous, which I always saw hints of, but Lana never mentioned, so I didn't. It has amped up his POS-ishness while I've been away. When I left, he just finished school, and basically moved in and announced. And when she'd mentioned he hasn't been home in days, he'd give her the, "What, don't you love me? I treat you so well. You're so selfish, blah blah, crap," and refused to move. She showed me the text he sends her. Absolutely horrific stuff. Things like, "Ring me in the next 5 minutes or we're over. Send me a picture of you at your desk with something showing today's date so I know you're at work." Just abusive stuff. onto the room. As we guessed, he moved it. He did it while she was at work, which is actually a bit gross thinking of him going through my stuff. And I'm considering somehow implying he have crabs or something he could catch just to make him squirm a bit. But I'll work on it. Lana came home and asked what he was doing, and he made it out it was just temporary and that I wouldn't mind. Such a gentleman speaking on my behalf, and he would move it back. And that he was doing it for her and she was so selfish, etc. When it got a few days before I came back, Lana suggested moving it back, and he completely denied he said that, and told her it was her idea to move it. And he only did what she told him, but it's staying now or she'd be sorry. So basically, Tom is a prick. Atlanta sobbed and apologized and cried, and I fed her wine. She didn't want to see Tom, who obviously assumed he lived there now. So I texted him from her phone saying our landlady, my aunt, was coming around for an inspection and staying for dinner after with my family, and he couldn't come over tonight. He sent a lot of begging, whiny texts, and then went on the offensive and called Lana a liar. So I rang my aunt, explained everything, and had her write us a fake landlord email mentioning the visit and how she was looking forward to fajitas because she's an absolute babe and I make good packet fajitas, which we forwarded on to Tom, and left her alone for the rest of the night, apart from a few texts. I'm not entirely sure what we'd do about Tom. Lana sounds like she wants to break up, judging from her crying and screaming, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him into her wine. I think she's scared too though. I checked with her and he doesn't have a key, so that's a relief. I've told my aunt everything and she said she's happy to ban him from that flat, but Lana would need to break up with him first and get all that sorted. Thanks everyone for the advice. I know it wasn't the most popcorny update, but hopefully Lana will be okay. And we're going to be doing some girly stuff this week at avoiding Tom. And yeah, God knows what will happen. And now for the second update. Hi everyone. It's been a busy month since my last post, and I logged back into this account out of curiosity and saw quite a few people message me requesting an update. So here we are. Sorry it took so long, but things have calmed down now. So shortly after my last post, Lana broke up with Tom. She was quite scared to do it because he's a psycho, and it took 2 weeks between the last post and the actual breakup. During that time, she didn't let him come around or see her. Luckily, she remembered that Tom had never had chickenpox as a kid, so we pretended my nephew had caught chickenpox and had to stay with us because my brother's wife had never had it and couldn't risk getting shingles. It worked luckily, and he stayed away. She told her family and close friends about what it'd been like, in case he contacted them to get in touch with her and lied about what happened, and then texted him saying she wanted to break up. Well, he blew the hell up. Called her every name under the sun, switched back to apologizing and saying she was the love of his life, then said she'd never find someone like him, then he would die without her, then he wanted to end her, and then they were soulmates. It was insane. He started messaging me too, telling me I was an evil witch who had ruined his perfect wife. Lol, okay then. And as predicted, her family and friends got messages too. We both turned our phones off to ignore it and just watched TV. Later, I briefly switched mine on, where I had a lot of messages from my friends telling me to block some guy on my social media. It was Tom calling me every imaginative combination of the C word he could think of all over my public Instagram page. There were even a few racial slurs, which was odd because we're both white, but okay. Lana had already blocked him and everything, but silly me forgot to make my Insta private. The next day, he rang Lana's office. She was so embarrassed, it was awful, to tell her he was driving down to our flat. She rang me and I rang my aunt, who you remember manages the property, who told us it was time to call the police. We filed a report about Tom. They said to update us on the situation. In the UK, you need to go to court to actually get a restraining order, so we have it as such. But the evidence is all there and documented if we need to go that far. The police rang Tom, at our request, told him they'd seen the messages and to turn his car around, because if he turned up at our door, he'd be arrested. Police officers here are amazing, can I just say. Tom managed to poop himself hard enough to not show up after that. So we were fine for a week. Then the post came. Tom started sending letters, threats and soppy I love you stuff, flowers, then a pizza that we had to pay for. We were actually hungry, so we ate it. He even signed us up to a magazine subscription. It was bizarre. We went to the police again. They filed everything, but Lana didn't want to go to court. I don't blame her as she was incredibly stressed by the whole thing. So 2 weeks ago, I took my aunt and my mother out to dinner. I told them both about the situation, and my god, as if an aunt had an idea. She manages about 30 properties, not just the one we live at, as I had a few that were unoccupied now, with school finishing. She told me she would show us around all the 2 bedrooms she had, and we could live in any of them for the same rents we pay now, and just transfer over our deposit/fees as long as there were no damages to deduct and we helped do a deep clean to get it ready for the next tenant. We found one within a 5-minute drive that's just as lovely, and to anyone concerned about the previous rent dispute, has equal-sized bedrooms. So we moved, which is why the last 2 weeks have been manic, but we're settled in now. Tom has been informed that we've moved, because the stuff he sent since has been returned. Lan and I are completely no contact with him, and anyone who visits us is sure not to pass on our address to Tom. Also, I apologized to Lan about the issue with paying the same amounts of rent. She said she never had a problem with it, and said that that's how she had always done it through uni and with other roommates. She refused to take any money from me, but I've decided I will be funding the weekly flat wine sessions for the future. It's been a long month, and even though my traveling tan has faded, things are great now. Thanks for all your advice before, guys, even the ones I didn't agree with, and let's all pray to baby Jesus that I have a calmer living situation from now on. Wow, what a fantastic outcome for everyone involved. I mean, obviously trauma from Tom's idiocy and harassment, but now that Nitwit is on police notice, you and Lana have a nice new flat with equal footing. And it sounds like you've formed a real bond over this, whereas your previous post was typical roommate entitlement issues combined with a crap boyfriend. It both escalated and got better. Much luck to you and Lana living in the future. You've been a great friend to her. Your aunt definitely deserves some good wine sessions too. We're taking my aunt out for dinner next month. This update was so satisfying to read. You guys did great. I cracked up when I read a magazine subscriptions part. Dude was a loon. You were a really good egg in this situation. I'm glad it's turned out for the best. Thank you. I'm so happy it's all calmed down now.